And those go there. Hello. Today we're going to review some Benromach. Benromach, relatively new-ish distillery on the kind of northwestern coast of the Speyside. There had been some distilling there, but when Gordon and MacPhail bought the place, they basically gutted it. Maybe around the turn of the millennium, and they were pretty clear on the style that they wanted to produce from then on. If you read between the lines, basically what they were going for, what they wanted to make was wartime Macallan. They wanted a Speysider that was heavy, oily, grungy, that took sherry well, and that also brought, not an overwhelming sense of peat, but a notable level of peat. That is what they wanted to produce, and for the most part, that's what Benromach does. But folks true to my heart, they get bored, and they also do quite a number of little experiments. Why is everything uneven? Every few years, they will experiment with how they're distilling, with what they're distilling, with barley types, with peating levels, with all kinds of stuff. And they will bottle that and sell it. More recently in the Contrast series, but they had all kinds of different names for this stuff. And that's what we're tasting out today, including some stuff that I own and some samples provided by Joe, friend of the channel. So we got 2 triple distilled bottlings. Very, very unusual in a Speyside context. We have got a unpeated bottling. Now that raises a question. Are the triple distilled ones also unpeated? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I've got a special barley. This is a Golden Promise bottling. And then a more heavily peated version. And we're going to review all of these and give them a score. So let me get pouring on this. Yeah, I really love Benromach. I mean, they are going after that kind of wartime Macallan character. Again, if you read between the lines of what they were saying 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I guess. But it also makes them a little bit Springbank adjacent. And with Springbank kind of harder and harder to find and buy, Benromach is definitely worth a look. I usually like these quite a lot. So that's that poured. Sorry, I should have done all my setup beforehand, but we're going to keep the camera rolling because that's what we do here at the DS. That is the Golden Promise and the Contrast Peat Smoke. There was a sherry version of this too. I don't have it. Come on. In fact, I think most of these are except for the Golden Promise, are actually bourbon cask. So let's get started. Kicking off with these 2 triple distilled offerings, which is really, really cool. Let's throw in a footnote here. I adore Auchentoshan. I really, really do. I adore triple distilled Irish malts, my beloved Bushmills when I can get a good Bushmills, but really, really like Auchentoshan. I remember some of the long gone closed triple distilled lowlanders. Oh, they were good. I love that style when it's well presented, and Auchentoshan usually is not well presented. But if you can nail it, it's just a wonderful style, and I am so happy that Benromach is trying to do their own twist on it. Let's see how they did. This is a 10-year-old, aged 2011 to 2022, bottled at 46%, un-chill-filtered. I don't see anything on here about color. And first fill bourbon barrels. 46% on the nose. Well, first off, it doesn't smell like Auchentoshan, but it also doesn't smell like sort of standard Benromach either. It's very, okay, so nuts and like banana pie is my first. So like nutty banana pie. There's also some white pepper, a little bit of a maritime thing, a little bit of like a sea breeze happening, which is definitely not Auchentoshan. Vanilla, creme brulee. Yeah, I'm digging the nutty thing. It's roasted nuts, but it's also like some almost green nuts in there as well, which actually reminds me very much of standard basic Benromach and Springbank for that matter. Hints of like light honey, clover honey, apple, well, pear too, but mostly apple. Little like lemon twist, orange. There's a grainy thing to this. It's not oatmeal though. It's more like a almost a pound cake thing. Give it the banana note. I should be getting banana bread on this, but I'm really not. It's more like, you know, like banana pie, but also pound cake. There's a nice kind of ashy character. What is that? There's the creme brulee, but there's also like a half smoked Virginia burley flake kind of thing going on here. Sorry, tobacco nerdery. It's half smoked tobacco. And that's mostly it. I mean, it's fun. It does not smell anything like Ireland or the Lowlands. It smells like its own weird thing. Actually, I think there is some peat on this. It's not really evident. Oh, okay, maybe there is. Hidden in that maritime note, the sea breeze, is a little whiff of peat. But it's much more evident on the palate. So, if you have got triple distilled peated whiskey on your bucket list, here's a way to check that off. Fascinating. It's, if you were just handed a glass of this, like you could just like, you know, toss it back without even noticing, because it's very, in some ways there's nothing in this that is punching in the face. It's not that kind of whiskey, but pay attention. This is a little bit of an oddball. It's a little like it's you've got some, you know, the sea breeze, little bit of peat, you know, little hints of like Springbank levels of peat. But then you've got that kind of like banana thing, like mashed bananas. There's a barnyardy element in this too. So like mashed bananas, like cow, you know, like cow pasture. This is fun. Vanilla, creme brulee, a little cream soda, touch of ginger, white pepper. I can't wait. Like peaty bananas. What? That is so out there. There is pear. There is apple. A little bit of that pound cake thing again. What else? That kind of like half smoked pipe tobacco burley Virginia thing. That's there. For the most part, the nuttiness I was getting on the nose, it's still there, but it's more integrated with the tobacco-y note. I don't know. I'm torn about this one because you pay attention to it. Like, it's very thought-worthy. Like, there's a combination of flavors going on here, which is extremely unusual and fun. But it's also like it doesn't like draw attention to itself. You just hand me a glass of this and maybe put an ice cube or two in it. I don't notice. It could be a blend. It could be a basic, it could be some nice Johnny Walker I haven't tried yet. I don't know. It's got that kind of like not quiet nature. That kind of unassuming presentation to it if you're not paying attention. So interesting. All right, I'm going to give this some water. One squirt should do it. And let's move on. This is from Joe, and I think it's just a younger version of the same batch bottled at higher strength. So 50% ABV. This was bottled with the old label with the crazy writing. Before they went to this kind of like, I don't know, early 50s Soviet kind of style that they've got right now. So yeah, bottled 2019, but distilled 2011, so 7 years old. Ish. 7 or 8. Also first fill bourbon barrels, but 50% this time. Inevitably, it's a very similar profile. I mean, we're also here getting banana pie with a sea breeze with little whiffs of peat kind of blowing past. More spirity. I'm definitely getting some like apple, pear, kind of new Mickey but not bad kind of notes. Apple, pear, white pepper. There's clover honey again, but there's also some like heavier honey in here. Maybe some like Lithuanians have something called summer honey, which is not. We're not getting into like forest honey or anything. Nothing that serious, but a little bit heavier. Yeah, and certainly there's like a beer note. What kind of beer? I want to say Doppelbock. It's more like an imperial amber ale. Because I'm not getting those lagery notes. We're more on the ale side of things. You know how ales can sometimes throw banana at you? That's kind of what's going on here. A little bit of ash here too. But I'm not getting the rest of the tobacco. This is more like just a little bit of campfire ash. That nuttiness from before is back, but it's not as pronounced. Overall, we're more heavy on fruit, on spirity notes here. See what happens on the palate. Interesting. Because I think in terms of absolute quality, I like this better. Sorry, Joe. I like my 10-year-old better. But this is louder. This is harder to miss. It's definitely more spirity. We're bringing lots of apple, pear into the game. It's not raw by any means, but you're getting more of the new make in this. There's some oiliness to this, which is kind of fun. The nuttiness is actually more present on the palate. Nuttiness, campfire ash, banana. Did I mention banana? Lots of banana still. sea breeze, less peat, less evident peat actually than on the 10. It's there if you go hunting for it. There's a little bit of that kind of barnyardy thing too, but more spirity, but cleaner, but also louder, if that makes sense. White pepper, a little kiss of ginger. I'll give this some water, but between these two, I think I do have a favorite. But we'll see what happens. 2. And now onto the unpeated. I don't know a whole lot of... Okay, so distilled 2014, bottle 2024, so circa 9, maybe 10 years old. This was sherry and bourbon casks. I'm sorry. I thought that only the Golden Promise was the sherry one. Un-chill filtered, 46%. And so far as I know, double distilled, everything normal. It's just they're not using peat. It's a different malt. I mean, you hand this to me blind, I'm not going to recognize it as Benromach. What it smells like is just kind of a very interesting Speyside, honestly. So we were getting some orange peel. I mean, apple, pear, kind of mashed together. Wildflower honey. But there is like a sour, bitter orange note. Orange peel? Bitter orange peel. Thing. There's, what is that? Tea. What kind of tea? Like a Russian caravan tea? Like a blended tea? Maybe you throw some pu'er in there as well. Interesting. But with it like some bitter orange on top. Vanilla, yeah. I mean, I would pick this out as Speyside. Like, it smells to me like what I sometimes think about as the third side of Speyside, which is that kind of grungy, edgy, almost Baroque style of spirit that brings tea, that brings citrus, orange, bitters, sours. We're kind of in that territory. Oh, okay, but there's like some rock dust. There's a little hint of sea salt in there as well. Even without the peat, you can still kind of tell this is a maritime malt. Something grainy in there. What is that? I mean, it's grainy, but it's also cakey. It's like a imagine you made pound cake with whole wheat flour. That's kind of what this smells like. It's interesting. It's more reticent on the nose than I expect from Benromach. It's got the quiet complexity that I expect from the third side of Speyside. And a little bit of like a burning cooking oil kind of thing. Like you left your canola in the pan when it was on a little bit too much, a little bit too long. A little bit of that. Interesting. I mean, I have to commend Gordon MacPhail for doing these experiments and making stuff in this style, because this is not what the people want. I like it. I dig this style, but yeah, not going to be a hit with the Joneses on the palate. This is awesome. The nose had me doubting, but wow, it's still hanging in there. The sherry wasn't super duper evident on the nose. You might be getting, I was getting a little bit of black pepper on there, a little bit of ash, but on the palate, it kind of comes to life a little bit. I am getting some like mashed fig, beef bouillon. Oh yeah, black pepper, lots of black pepper. Melding with the apple, the pear, the burning cooking oil. There's a lot of like mouthfeel to this. A couple of wet stones, sea salt. Straight up oatmeal now. We've moved into full blown like grainy territory. But then it's got that laser line of bitter orange, a little bit of lemon peel, kind of running through it. Pu'er tea, a little bit of green tea as well. I don't know if you can still get this bottle. I mean, it's what, bottled last year, so you can still, it's still probably out there. But I will tell you, if you are a fan of like unpeated Benromach, or even a knock, although this doesn't have the the really overt worm tubby notes, you will like this. Like, this is, it's very grungy. It's very like angular Baroque Speyside. And the mouth presence is fantastic. This at what, 46%? Like, this is kind of holding in there as well as any like 46-year-old 46% 10-year-old I can think of. This is very, very good. Okay, let's give that some water and we'll move on. This is fun. This is a lot of fun. All right, glass 4. This is the oldest bottling here. Good luck finding this one. Benromach Origins, Batch 5. Golden Promise. So obviously it's distilled entirely from the Golden Promise barley, famous from much more prominent distilleries. And they aged this thing in a sherry cask from 2005 to 2013. But this is also lightly peated as a standard to 12 ppms. And this was bottled on the first label, which also had the weird writing, but it wasn't on the glass thing. It was on the label thing. Never mind. This was on their first label when they reopened. Ooh. Also, I mean, none of these smell anything like, I mean, not anything like, none of these smell like a close relative to the standard 10-year-old, the standard, 15. They smell like their own things. This one, however, smells like the unpeated version, which is funny because this is the oldest bottling here, and this is the most recent, right? But yeah, we're getting that same like, kind of like tea shop, bitter orange, bitter lemon peel in a tea shop kind of smell. Tea leaves, citrus, just juicy, bitter orange, yeah. But also like oatmeal, like slightly burned oatmeal, white pepper. It's very spirity, but man, this has got character. I like this. Vanilla, creme brulee again. Manuka honey, apple, orange, apple pear, sorry. A little bit of quince jam. Yeah, I mean, even the apple and the pear were on the jam preserve spectrum, more so than the fresh fruit spectrum. A little bit of that beery thing. There's a little bit of what is that? Like a little hints of like Vienna lager or something in the background. Just a little, not as much as the other one. Is there peat? I mean, yeah, but it's less prominent than actually the first two. That's there. I mean, there's a little touch of peat, little touch of sea salt, but this is all about those crazy, like, tea and orange notes. Fun. It also has a little bit of an oiliness to this too, but not like burning oil, just like regular, like you spilled some cooking oil on the counter, that kind of smell. And vague nuttiness, hard to nail down. I want to taste this. Let's taste this. Joe, I'm very jealous of you for having a full version of this. Oh, wow. This is fabulous. This is really, really fabulous. Oatmeal, burned oatmeal again, mix of honeys, bitter orange, but then tea leaves as well, mix of tea leaves, green teas, pu'er. But then there's a line of like barnyardy peat running through the whole thing, which was not really prominent in the nose. Now it is prominent. That nuttiness again. I mean, apple, pear, quince jam. Yeah, but it's... Oh, this is so punchy. Terrific mouth presence. Absolutely fabulous. 50%? Yeah, I can tell. Black pepper. Benromach, if you're watching this, make more like this. Please. This is fabulous. Lots of black pepper. Sherry cask influence, not as much as you'd expect. There's a little bit of like a beef bouillon kind of thing coming through. A little bit, but it tastes like it's all about the distillate. It really does. I like that a lot. I want to see what water does to it. All right, 2 squirts. We're moving on to the final glass, which is Contrast's Peat Smoke. This was distilled 2010, bottled 2021. 10 years old, I guess. Maybe 11, probably 10. Peated to 35 ppms. Bottled in first fill bourbon barrels. Yeah. So the funny thing about... I've had Benromachs have more heavily peated batches before, and the funny thing about them is they don't actually come across as more heavily peated. At least that was my experience in the past, but this may prove me wrong. Let's see. It is not proving me wrong. Yeah, my impression before was the Peat Smoky series of Benromachs would be really good bottles for people who really like Lowlands and Irish whiskeys. But maybe now the triple distilled will take their place. But yeah, and we're doing that again. That same play. Okay. There is a little bit of a barnyardiness to this. So like a little bit of horse pasture kind of thing going on. It's like clumps of grass and mud and horsey stuff. But a lot of this is very clean apple, pear, lots of pear. A little maritime, a little brine. Oatmeal as here as well, honeyed oatmeal. Is there peat? I mean, yeah, but it's actually less pronounced than like in the standard 10-year-old, for example. And this is bottled at higher strength. Yeah, I mean, it smells like a nice, fruity, slightly grungy Irish lowland style whiskey, double distilled. But you could almost mistake this for a, except for the lack of like dairy notes, you could almost mistake this for like a Bladnoch or something on the palate. Again, peat is more present on the palate, but even then, it comes across as more like peppery and smoky than peaty. So peppery campfire ash. A lot of fruit, though, still. Apples, pears, lemon peel. That kind of horse pasture, clumps of grass and mud and horsey stuff. Again, yeah, the peat is there, but it doesn't come across as particularly more pronounced. This is a funny series by them. I do like it, but probably not for the reasons that they thought that I would like it. Vanilla, just good old-fashioned American barrel char. Virginia tobacco, some kind of brighter version, like a Carolina bright leaf. Nuttiness, again, kind of that vague nuttiness which always shows up on Benromach. It's hard to identify. Really good mouth presence. Everything kind of holds on, maybe not as much as the Golden Promise, which is kind of winning the flight as far as that goes, but very good mouth presence. Yeah. Good whiskey. Don't come to it thinking you're getting Lefroy. It's not that kind of thing. All right, let's go through these one more time. Triple distilled, 10-year-old, 2011 vintage, sorry. There's more peat on that than I thought. It's kind of a... Let me rinse. Okay. Triple distilled, 2011. 10-year-old. This is such a great combination. The banana pie meets peat thing is so fun. And so just not what you would expect. Development? No, I mean, not really. Not a whole lot. Maybe brings a little bit more cooking oil to the nose, a little bit less nuttiness, but it smells about what it did before. On the palate. All right. palate actually loses a step for me when you add water. The finish gets a little bit clipped, and the peppery ashiness kind of takes over a little bit. I don't think it's the peat trashing my palate. I think that's just how this is. And water kind of turns this into a little bit of an ash bomb. It's still got the banana thing. It just kind of moves back. The fruit moves back. Score-wise, I'll call this an 86 minus. Very good. I'm happy I have it. A lot of fun. And I do like the style. It's very unusual. Just don't add water to it. It doesn't like it. Moving on. This is the other triple distilled one, the younger one, now watered down on the palate, or on the nose. Yeah, this was the one with the kind of beery thing, wasn't it? That's still there. It's actually a little bit more prominent. Apple pear. Imperial amber. Again, nose feels about like what it was before. And that's fine. On the palate. Ooh. Unexpected. This one actually steps up the water. Yeah, okay. So we're bringing out the barrel, I think, in both cases. But in this case, there's less barrel to bring out. So there's less kind of overt ashy pepperiness. And a little bit more of a lift from the vanilla, which is kind of like reining in some of those new making notes. Finish is actually up a step, I think, from where it was. I will give this kind of a mirror score to this, an 85 plus, which is better, an 86 minus or an 85 plus. I don't know. I'm just scoring these things. Moving on. Back to the unpeated version. Oh yeah, this was the kind of Benromach one, right? This was also the one that was quietest on the nose, and water has not changed that. Yeah, something about this style just makes me happy. The teas, the tobaccos, the kind of angry citrus. It's nice to have a reminder that you're drinking something that was distilled from grains, and this reminds you of that. Changes from before? Again, not really. Pretty much the same nose on the palate. It breaks my heart a little bit, because I do like this style, but I don't think it's as good as their standard lightly peated style. It breaks my heart. It's such a wonderful example of the tea and citrus style of Speyside. But everything, compared to even the triple distilled peated versions, everything just feels like half a notch down a little. The finish just isn't quite as long. The mouth length isn't quite as long. I mean, it's still good though. So I will call this an 85 pointer. And again, if you are ride or die with unpeated Benromach, you should seek this out. It's a lot of fun. On to the Golden Promise. This was probably my favorite going into the second round. Maybe that's just the thing with Benromach, is they don't change much when you take them down in proof. This time I'm getting more black pepper this time. Almost a chocolate orange thing. I mean, there is like intense, bitter orange peel still going on, but I guess that's the sherry cask coming out. On the palate. Oh. Oh my goodness. This is gorgeous. Again, Benromach, if you're watching this, more like this, please. Water. This did not have a problem with mouth presence before. And well, honestly, it's not the mouth presence that steps up, it's the development. There is a green pepper note that comes out on this. I'm sorry, orange pepper note that comes out on this. Midway through the mid palate, oh god, yeah, arrives. Not a lot of fruit, but bitter citrus, teas, tobaccos. And then as it expands through your mouth, you get the mezcal fans, like espadín fans. Like you will find something to like here. As it expands, you get the bell pepper. You get more black pepper as well. You get your kind of orchard fruit, oils, graininess, the oatmeal-y thing. This is fantastic. Score-wise, I'm going to go 88. 88 points. If you see it, grab it. It's probably not out there anymore, but still. And again, Benromach, please make more like this. Yeah, wow. And back to the Peat Smoke. I can never get over how unpeaty the Peat Smoke versions smell. Like, I could be nosing in Glenkinchie or something. Or indeed a Bladnoch. It's just fruit and honey and happy times. Well, not happy. I mean, there's a little bit of grunge to this. There really is. But yeah, nothing to suggest, 35 ppm on the palate. I had my doubts for a second, but this is the thing where it's turned into one of those spirits where the first sip is more subdued, and then it kind of builds in itself when you take a second sip. I don't know. Sometimes I do that, and I feel like that's a valid way of being a spirit, and I'm not going to take off for it. peppery, campfirey, but it's still got like tons of fruit. Some florals even coming out. The oiliness, the nuttiness. As a peat bomb, this is a total failure. But as a substitute for those of us who want more like Bladnoch in our lives, this is tremendous. Is this better than the Unpeated or not as good? I mean, these are all like in a big cluster, right? With the exception of the Golden Promise. No, I think this hangs in with the unpeated version here. I'm going to also call this an 85. 85 points for this contrast Peat Smoke with bourbon barrels. And yeah, that is the video. Jesus, I need some water. So tied for losers, although still with pretty solid scores for the pedigree and the price point. The unpeated version, contrasts, and the Peat Smoke in a bourbon barrel. And then, kind of tied in a weird way, the Benromach triple distills, 86 minus and 85 plus. So, kind of right in that same territory. And then way, way above, I mean, not way above, but considerably above the others, this Golden Promise version from 2013. 88 points. I adore this. And Benromach should absolutely be doing more barley experimentation because this is fabulous. Thank you for watching, and cheers.